People, deluded, I'm back again. The news doesn't stop, so neither do I. Appreciative to having you lot tuned back into my regular supporters. If you're new here, you know you need to subscribe, smash the like button, and turn on your notification bells. Now, as we know, July is starting to heat up, not just for Arsenal Football Club, but for a bunch of football teams as they look to get players out of their club and obviously make some new additions for next season aimed at strengthening the squad. As we know, 99.9% of these rumours are BS. Obviously, where California is concerned, it seems like there's some legs to that, and it feels like that move's progressing. Our captain Martin Odegaard has spoken in relation to the season that's just gone and the optimism for next season. What else have we got to discuss? Eze Guehi has been linked with us. Why Real Madrid would let him go, especially after what he did for Turkey, at the Euros. And they obviously scouted him and knew he could do that because they saw him at Fenerbahce, and he's still at Real Madrid. If he weren't at Real Madrid, he'd be playing a lot more football. Nonetheless, we've been linked with Eze Guehi and Mark Guehi once again, and there's probably a bit of other bits and pieces. So as usual, people, if you give me 30 seconds to share my screen, we'll get straight into it. Now, let's start with the captain, Martin Odegaard. I'm sure you would have seen, or if you just type in Martin Odegaard on Google, it seems like there's a lot of interviews going around on a lot of publications. As we know, Arsenal have began their pre-season in Marbella, or like a pre-season for players that exited the Euros early, played no part in the Euros or the Copa America. On working hard in Marbella, the summer has been good. I'm obviously disappointed not to be in the Euros, so it's been a bit strange to watch the games, but I've had some time to relax and disconnect. I think I needed that after a long season and all the emotions that came with it. Here we're apologies, we're now here to start preparing for a big season. It's a nice place to come to train and work, and a good way to start the season to work towards the big goal of being even better than last season. Love to hear that. On last season, he said, first of all, it was a good season. And again, we've seen Mikel Arteta give a reflective interview in recent days as well. First of all, it was a good season. We made history and we have to be proud of that, but it wasn't enough to win, and that's what we wanted to do. So we all felt a bit disappointed with being so close, and I think that's it. You can have optimism, the top 6 record, the clean sheets, the fantastic games, the goals. There's so much to like about what we're doing, but fundamentally, we didn't win it. And how, even though I don't think he's wrong, because that's how I view it. How far does making history go? Because in 20 years, we're not going to be like, oh my God, the 2023-24 season. And I think some Arsenal fans can put their head in positive toxicity where, football is about winning and losing ultimately. And no matter what you say, the manager, the players, they're not happy with it. And, misery loves company. Arsenal can do no right, according to some. So I think that's it. And again, the very fact that we ran City down to the last game of the season, there weren't really too much points into it, means there's optimism, but it means you're so close, but yet so far. It's progression on the season before, but once again, so close, yet so far. And you have to look at maybe if we, killed the game in the first half against Aston Villa in 2024, the numerous games in the December period, for me, Chelsea away, where we took about an hour to warm up and Trossard and Declan Rice saved the day, but still the North London derby where we shot ourselves in the foot. And I'm sure there's a bunch of other things. Now, we know we can't win them all. You will drop points, but you almost can't drop points fighting Manchester City. So yeah, I don't think Odegaard said anything wrong here, people. In football, there are small margins. It's easy to look at one game, but I think you have to look at the whole season. We didn't have the consistency to win it, and we have to earn it. And we know we can improve, get better, and that's what we're working on. We're so close, but we're going to come back even stronger now, I'm sure, by God's grace. When speaking about the mentality, you learn something every day, especially when you're so close and you can taste it on the last day. It gives us all the motivation we need to come back even stronger this year and win it. If you compare last season to the season before, we looked a lot stronger, especially towards the end. Fair enough. The season before last year, it ran to the last day. We look a lot more mature and confident, and we had a really good ending. So I think we're taking a lot of good steps, but we just need a bit more to win it. And I think, on the training ground, I'm sure there's several things Mikel Arteta could do. He's not the finished article as a coach. The vast majority of the core nucleus of our players, they're making building blocks, but they're not the finished articles. I wouldn't say Odegaard has reached his potential, Saka, Martinelli, Saliba, etc. So there's a lot more juice we could squeeze out of our team. Pause. But it feels like we need some additions, man. I'm not going to lie to you. Midfield, we need that. Cool, it looks like the California thing is happening. I would love a winger and a striker. Personally, either or we can get away with it. I don't think you can get away with not bringing in another attacker. but we'll have to see, man. Mikel Arteta knows about football more than me. I don't think he's wrong in what he's saying here, people. Every setback can make you stronger. For us to be talking about last season as a disappointment shows how far we've come, and we're all about now. It shows the mentality that we're not satisfied if we don't win. Big him up. When asked on obviously next season, that's the work we put in every day, the work ethic and mentality in the team, and how connected and aligned we are. We're all thinking about the same thing. We want to win something and get better. We're a young team as well, so I'm sure that experience and another year is going to help us. It's easy to find the motivation because we all want to win and we're pushing each other so hard every day. Staff, players, supporters, and everyone are pushing in the same direction. In the end, I'm sure it's going to be rewarded with a trophy by God's grace. He then said, obviously, he would have preferred to have been at the Euros, and obviously rest is essential mentally as well as physically, people. On the start of the season, it's always important to get a good start and feeling straight away. The work we put in now is going to help us to come back fit, sharp, and be ready. You have to push and be prepared in the best possible way. On handling last season as a young captain, he's a veteran in the team, essentially. Just after the game, it was a bit flat and empty because we had a big dream. We were so close on the last day, and I really had the feeling that something special was going to happen, and I think a lot of people did. This is where I disagree, because anytime your reality is not in your hands, then you're in issues. And yeah, it would have been nice. The footballing gods, West Ham pulled off something on the last day of the season, and we won it. Then great, but I think that's terrible territory. I'd rather have been hoping West Ham win on the last day, like some of you Arsenal fans were cheering on Spurs to do something against City. I mean, you couldn't see the logic in that. I could mathematically, but come on now, you're relying on Spurs to do something. The very fact of Arsenal Football Club relying on Spurs or some fans, that tells you we're not doing something that we need to do, people. So naturally, people, he said, at the same time, it's important to think about all the good things in the history and progress we've made. Not too much on the history now, Odegaard. I'm so proud to be a part of this, to be captain. We're so connected as a team and club. It was emotional to speak at the end of the season, but a nice experience to share with the fans. Obviously, he's going to say, in terms of switching off, where that's concerned, people, we know Odegaard's game, and actually Arsenal's about taking risks, so I won't bore you with that. But he then said, on consistency, it's hard work. We're really struggling a bit before Christmas, but then we had a break and went away and more together as a team and came back so strong. The aim for us now is to do it throughout the whole season. It takes a lot, but we're ready to take that next step and push for it. It's a joy to be part of this team, and everyone feels the same way. And that's it. If you, without getting into the micro, the season before the one that's just gone, it messed up at the end. This season, while there were talking points at the start of last season, we did what we needed to do. We ended strong. And for the vast majority of the middle of it, was dealing with it. But that December period is probably the writing on the wall, essentially, people. So, yeah, we obviously know we've got a young squad. On the transfer window, he said, I'm really happy with the squad we have. We have unbelievable quality and showed what we're capable of, especially towards the end of the season with how we settled. It's down to Mikel, Edu, and the club to sort out those things. On goals from midfield, obviously, did get a good return. Not quite the one he had the season before. Players in my position want to score goals and get assists, so it's important we all contribute. Last season, we had a lot of different goal scorers. On Kai Havertz, it's one of the strengths Mikel has to get the best out of everyone. As a group, we help each other a lot. It's easier to play in a team that is always helping you to perform. Everyone knows the different qualities of each player. And again, form is temporary, class is permanent. You can say what you want about Kai Havertz, but is he necessarily playing any differently than, if he was to look at his highlights reel throughout his time as a footballer? But I'm proud of Mikel Arteta, Odegaard, and actually the players, because let's be honest, it was difficult for Kai Havertz. We all know the sentiment coming into this club. Obviously, he's proved a lot of people wrong. Forgive me, and I know you need to uplift your teammates, but I'm going to be honest, he looked like a charity case at the beginning of last season. Now you look at how we ended it, and in terms of the running in 2024, Kai Havertz has a shout to probably be Arsenal's best performing player in that regards. Again, we all love what he did against Chelsea. Lovely assist for Bukayo Saka against Spurs. So, yeah, big him up. I've covered this before, but Mika Beref has completed a permanent move to Stuttgart. I mean, he's been here just short of 3 years, essentially, people, after joining from Fulham. And now he's joined Stuttgart permanently off the back of a loan spell and could be playing in the Champions League for them next season. We wish him all the best, really and truly. And go do your thing. Go shine, man. Odegaard has said, I'm sure we'll win a trophy. I mean, we've gone over this already, people, so I'm not going to bore you. See how I tried to make sure I get everything. Arsenal look to finalise 42 million signing of Italy defender Riccardo Calafori. Arteta is keen to complete this deal this week before the US tour. Bologna and Basel to receive windfalls from the transfer. Well, obviously was buying him from Bologna, and Basel allegedly have a 50% sell-on clause, people. As you can see here, people. Quite the profit, really and truly, for Bologna. Bought him for 3.4 million last summer. Going to sell him for 42 or something like that, people. That's crazy. And at 50%, someone at Basel was doing their job, people. So yeah, at this point, I must admit, big up Mikel Arteta and obviously Calafori. But at this point, you just want to see the man sign for our club. Allegedly, his arrival could hasten the departures of Kirill and Zinchenko, people. As we know, Kirill is being aggressively linked with a number of Italian clubs. Zinchenko has 2 years left on his deal. I just wonder if they sell Kirill or loan with an obligation to buy. I'm not saying both of them couldn't go, but could Zinchenko just hang around for another year? Does he want to somehow prove that, he can regain his spot and then maybe next season moved on or even earn a new contract, people? Who knows in that regards, people? Allegedly, Arsenal are understood to be among several clubs interested in Crystal Palace's Eze, and they could look into signing the goalkeepers back up to Raya if they allow Aaron Ramsdale to depart. We've covered the goalie stuff. We have been linked with Eze before, but where it comes to Eze, it's just going to cost big money. I mean, let me know if you think any different, but I'd be all for Eze signing for this club. Now, we're seeing a lot of Haylenders depart, man. Aidan Heaven, who's actually an Edmonton boy, a real North Londoner, a real A-lender, even though A-Len's in East, 17 years of age, still hasn't been given a pro deal. So, the club needs to get a lot better at this. Can play centre-half as well as at left-back. 17 years of age, did travel with the first team, to Portugal to play Porto last season. He's attracting interest from Borussia Dortmund. And as I always say, if you feel that's a better project and pathway, or not even necessarily, you might not even make it at Dortmund, but if you feel Dortmund are going to train you up so that ultimately you're going to be a better professional, then you need to leave Arsenal, because Arsenal don't care about you. Respectfully, of course they care about you as a human. We want to see people progress, etc. But you're there because you're a good footballer. That's why you were signed at probably 7-8 years of age. That's why you're here now. Do what you need to do, essentially, people, is what I'd say. I wouldn't say he'll operate in midfield, but I'd prefer him at centre-half or left-back, people. Nonetheless, people, he was a big Arsenal fan growing up. Allegedly, he spent time at Chelsea and obviously at West Ham, people. And he also attracted interest from Fulham. So it'd be nice to see him stay. But again, these players have got to be aggressive. Where we're concerned with Koza Dewberry, he actually has joined Brighton. They've been on to him, people. Since January, and we all know in January the whole host of clubs that were interested and were very aggressive with him. So Ajax, he's got Celtic, Rangers, Aston Villa, West Ham as well. Apparently he even had an offer from the Middle East, probably a bit too early to go there. He signed a 4-year deal over the weekend with Brighton, people. We did try to offer him a deal last summer, and there was a view to loaning him and Waters in January. But again, for them young lads, why would you sign a new deal at Arsenal where you're not necessarily, not saying it's wrong, but you're not being given opportunities? The pathway is blocked. And, where Waters is concerned, where Koza Dewberry is concerned, these are two areas that we probably need more immediate, more experienced first teamers at the first team. So it does not make sense necessarily to sign a new deal, but I wish him all the best. Once again, we're still being linked with Dan Bentley, a former Gooner, ironically now currently at Wolves, and simultaneously, check out the last video, was still linked with Pedro Neto. Apparently, they value him at £1 million, and we've bidded considerably less. Apparently, we're well apart in our valuation of Dan Bentley, people, which is a bit mad there. Since joining the club, Bentley has been largely inconsistent across his 7 appearances in all comps for Wolves. However, the Gunners now view the Englishman as a potential backup to Raya, who has joined Arsenal on a permanent basis. I reckon he'll be third choice. Wolves value the keeper at £1 million and see interest as a hostile bid. Arsenal are hoping to secure Bentley for a lot less, but both clubs are working on the move and may be prepared to meet in the middle, people. So we'll have to see, man. I mean, if that's the man we want, get him into the club, people. Fulham are among a number of Premier League clubs hoping to sign Smith Rowe, and they're holding a strong interest in our player. They're expected to formalise their interest soon. It's understood Smith Rowe wants to assess all his options with regular first-team football's primary motivation. I mean, anyone can't really disagree with that. Thank the Lord, Albert Sambi Lokonga is leaving. Sevilla are advancing in talks with Arsenal over the signing of Albert Sambi Lokonga. The deal is understood to be an initial loan with performance-related conditions, which would permit the loan turns into an obligation to buy. By God's grace, his form's there, and he's doing great, because logically, if there's mechanics in his contract that turn it into that, think about it logically. If Lokonga goes there and he's showing inconsistencies, let's just say, for example, he has to play 10 games for it to turn permanent and he's inconsistent, logically, maybe the coach does it, but maybe those above the coach say, you know what, he's played 9 games, you know, he plays one more, he plays X amount, we have to make that permanent, stay away from it. So I don't know if this is the last we've seen of Lokonga. Now, I would love us to sign Eze Guehi. I'm sure Liverpool fans would as well. I mean, he would fit in with our project. He's probably someone we should have bought at Fenerbahce before Real Madrid even knew what an Eze Guehi was, people. I mean, he's amazing. He's a quality footballer, and it's not unfortunate because you're at Real Madrid, you're learning, you're doing your thing. But, you know, if you was at another club with less resources, probably would have got a lot more first team football, people. And who wouldn't want the 19-year-old at the carpet? But I just don't believe it. Why would Real Madrid want to let him depart anytime soon? I don't know if he'll get first team football at Real Madrid, such as all their options, but you'd imagine they'd explore a loan or two and before giving him an opportunity to break through at Real Madrid before ever considering his sell. And if they were to sell him, boy, what would it be? For what it's worth, allegedly Arsenal and Liverpool have been among the clubs to scout Real Madrid star Eze Guehi at Euros 2024 as he shone in Turkey's win over Georgia. Again, I'm not, well, this is a bit old, but yeah, we could be looking at players that are very different, or our scouts could be just enjoying the tournament. AC Milan, PSG, Bayern Munich, Manchester City, Liverpool and Arsenal, and there's probably a bunch of other clubs that are involved and interested in that, people. Doesn't make sense for me. But there you have that, people. And where are we at with this? What else? Brian Brobley has apparently spoken about wanting to sign for Arsenal. Is there anything else in this regards? Is there anything new and emerging? I mean, we know Calafiori's deal could be happening. Nico Williams, I'm sure we're all bored of that. Again, Calafiori at this point just signed for the club. We've gone over the Odegaard stuff. Mika Beref, as I said, has left the football club. What else have we got? Arsenal and Man United on high alert with Mark Guehi set to reject Crystal Palace's new contract offer. Now, he's probably considering making the next steps. I can't see Arsenal buying him, not because he's not a good player, but, you know, they're probably going to ask for about 50 million to even begin conversations, really. So I'm not sure it's going to make much sense for Arsenal Football Club to do that. And they sold Eze, so I know obviously Guehi, he's a defender, not an attacker, but you probably don't want to lose Eze in addition to Guehi and probably Eze, who we've seen before. But Guehi has 2 years left on his deal. Crystal Palace want to give him a new contract. Apparently there's interest from Man United. You don't know, Man United might sign more centre halves, but are they not moving closer to signing Deluded? So I'm not too sure there. And he's shown he can perform as a left and right-sided centre half, people. So we'll have to see. You have to big them up though, man. They signed him for 18 million, and apparently Chelsea are due a 20% sell-on clause, and they have a right to buy him back if they match a bid made from another club. So that's good business from Chelsea. But where Eze Guehi, obviously Odegaard, Guehi, Eze, Mika Beref and Odegaard's comments, if I haven't made that clear, we've gone over everything, people. So yeah, man, let me know your thoughts and everything. Smash the like button and all those good things. Stay blessed, stay safe. Any emerging talking points worthwhile, you know, I'll get videos out for you lot. But for now, peace out.